If anybody's watching me live, I hope that you could hear me. I'm just trying to figure my situation out on my end, folks. So I apologize for the confusion. Hi, 369. I'm just getting things situated, but obviously, if you could see the title, I am talking about Aries today. I have Riley. Riley is here. He is my co-host today. He is super knowledgeable when it comes to astrology, which is why I have him here. But I'm just trying to bring up the chat room, folks, so that I could see you again, because I did see you guys earlier. It's a little crazy over here. Yes, Kimberly. Can you guys see me? I can't see myself. This is the first time I'm using Zoom. And I'm like, so I had it figured out yesterday, folks. I had it figured out yesterday. Can you guys see me? Let me know if you could see me. All right, I'm almost done, folks. Almost done. Mama's almost done.
I know who can't see you.
Can you see me?
I sure
Riley?
can. No.
You can only see my name. Okay.
Mm.
All right. I'm trying to get there, guys. Sorry.
We'll get it right. No problem.
So, yes, guys, this is Riley, one of my very good friends. I'm using two devices and I'm trying
There
to
you
figure
go.
out everything. I'm telling you, I did this earlier before. I could see you guys in the chat room, but I don't. You're right. I don't see my face. You could see my host friend. Okay. Riley, they could see you, but they can't see me.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Keep them entertained.
Ah, all right. Well,
Can you see
as
me
you know,
now, Riley?
I can see you. I can see you.
You can see me now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good. We're good to go?
I think so. You now see, thank you guys for being so patient. All right, thank you, folks. I'm so sorry. Hi, I had 369 Star, Kimberly. Thank you for coming back. All right. Okay. I think we got it figured out. I know there's a 10-second delay, so I apologize. A 15-second delay. Thank you, 369. I have a 15-second delay. Just keep that in mind. But you could hear me real time, right, Riley?
Yes.
You could hear me real time. All
Real
right.
time. You're good. No lag. We're good.
I can see Riley in and out, and then it goes back to your name only. Yeah. So it depends who's talking. I'm on my phone. I hate that I'm on my phone, but there's nothing I could do about it. Riley is on his laptop. So every time Riley talks, it'll show his face. The split screen, I can't do the split screen. Trust me, I've tried and tried and tried, but it only works on my laptop, on my tablet, and that's the problem. I don't have split screen on my phone. So trust me, we've been there and done that. Both Riley and I, we've done test runs.
Oh yeah.
But it is our first show. We're doing all the zodiac signs. We're going to talk about all the zodiac signs. All right, Aries through Pisces. I cannot wait. We're starting with Aries, which Mr. Riley happens to be an Aries.
Oh yeah.
So he's very knowledgeable.
I know about that.
Hi, Leah.
Oh yeah.
So he's very knowledgeable. Can you hear an echo? I'm sorry, folks. I know I'm doing this while I'm on live on you. Riley, can you hear an echo?
Yes.
Does anybody hear an echo?
I hear echo.
You hear echo?
Mm-hmm.
Aries is, Christy says Aries is far from innocent. So I named it Innocent Fire. Riley and I decided to name Aries Innocent Fire. I thought it was funny, but also I thought it was on point when he mentioned it. Who's an Aries over here? Who knows an Aries? So, okay. All right. I think we could get started. Trust me, guys, I'll get used to the situation. By the time we reach Taurus, right?
By the time we get the Pisces, we'll be just right, right?
Do you still hear the echo?
Yeah, I do.
369 star is an Aries sun. That's right. Christy, karmic. I close myself off of an Aries. And Aries all over. You have Aries all over your chart. So I was talking. I had sent out. I was talking to Riley earlier because him and I went live by accident, and I started talking about my ex. I don't know if any of you saw that. It was Christmas shopping with my ex, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm live talking about my ex, my son's father, who happens to be a fire sign. But we'll get to that Leo situation much later down the line. Claire Reyes, my cousin, is an Aries. She's here, Riley.
How you doing?
Riley can't see your comments, so I'm going to Riley can't see the live chat. I mean, he could if he wanted to, but we were so short on time. So next time he'll be able to see your chat. So I'm going to tell him about, I'm going to let him know what you guys are asking. And because what I want, the whole reason for me to talk about the zodiac signs is not only to inform you, about the native sun signs, but also, I also want to hear your input. All right. I would love to hear your input. Christy says, tell him hello from all of us. All right.
Christy. And everybody else. How you doing?
Riley has been on my show before. Like, he's been on my channel before a year ago. All right, my loves. I am so sorry. I know you guys are like, what is she doing? Okay. All right, you guys are ready? All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to throw down. I wanted to give information. Can you guys see me? Am I gone again?
Yep. Back. Welcome
Am
back.
I back?
You back.
I'm back. Okay. We'll get it together. We'll get it
Yeah,
together.
you know it's
Kimberly
crazy.
says
Yesterday,
hi, Riley.
who said that?
Kimberly, say hi to Kimberly. She says hi.
Hi, Kim. How you doing, love?
All right. I love you guys. My guys, listen, my viewers, I love my viewers. Okay. Not only are they smart, but they are my die-hard supporters,
And loyal.
and I love them.
And loyal.
All right. Thank you guys for being so patient. I really appreciate all of you for being so patient. If I look back, I'm looking at the chat, so I'm not trying to keep my eyes off of you, Riley, or off the camera. I just wanted to see who's on the chat room, and of course I'm going to be checking back and forth in the chat room and see who has any questions or concerns. But let's talk a little bit about Aries, the first house. The first house, when people say the first house, it's actually on your horoscope, on your birth chart, on your natal chart. It is your rising sign. So your rising sign is the first house. So when you hear people saying, I have, for me, for example, I have Pisces in the first house. Pisces in the first house is the same thing as your ascendant, your Pisces rising. Okay. It is the moment where you come from spirit. Okay. You die, you come from spirit, and you're reincarnated into carbon matter. That is the first house. Okay. So when people say the first house, because I don't know if this happened to you, Riley, where I got confused. I wasn't confused, but when I first started reading about astrology, I would always think the first house meant Aries, which it kind of does. It kind of does. The first house does still represent Aries, but it has, depending on what sign is there, for me, the first house is occupied by Pisces. Which is your rising. So your first house is Mars placement, but it is considered your rising. Did you know that, Riley?
Yeah, I was aware of it to a certain degree. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Where's your rising, Riley?
Well, my rising is Leo.
So your rising is in Leo.
Right.
So you have fire on top of fire.
Fire on fire.
Fire on top of fire.
Right.
And that's why I love him. I love fires. I have a history with fire signs, all fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer supporting Aries. Jennifer's she's another one of my cousins.
Oh, she's Team Aries too? Okay.
She's supporting an Aries. Claire is an Aries.
Okay, nice.
Christy, we see me, Aries. I forget his name. Christy, you're asking for it's Riley. Riley is your Riley. It's Riley. Riley is his name. That's my co-host. You will be seeing him often. So we're going to talk about Aries. Let's talk about Aries. So Aries, really quick. I want you to know that you are considered the baby of the zodiac.
Right.
You know, and there is a method behind that madness. The fact that you are called the Aries, the baby of the zodiac, I just explained to you that the first house does represent the moment where we die. We are in spirit form.
Right.
Okay. And when we are in spirit form, we reincarnate into carbon matter.
Right.
And then bingo, that is your rising sign. That's why it's always important to put the time that you were born when you look up your birth chart, because when you're looking up your birth chart and you don't know the time you were born, it's going to be difficult for you to know where your rising sign, your true rising sign is.
Right.
Your true rising sign is when every time the sun rises to the east, it's a sacred moment. It's every time the sun rises on the east, where in the constellation.
Where that ascends, that is your, yep.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the first house. But let's get back to Aries. Now, and to me, that's why it's one of the reasons why I think it's called the baby. You know, besides being the first house, it's also, like, for me, another definition of why Aries is called the baby, because of that first house. The reason behind the first house, the explanation behind the first house, the fact that we come from spirit to carbon matter, which is basically coming into this world, right? From your mom's womb into this world, into the physical world. But I mean, you're already in the physical world. Once you're in your mother's womb, you're already in the physical world, in the physical world. But in astrology, it's the first house represents the baby because of that fact. So when people say the baby, I don't want people to get offended, because babies, Riley, they have their tantrums, right?
Right. A lot of times people, when I tell people that, you know, Aries are the baby of the zodiac, some people take offense when they don't understand what that really means. But as an Aries, you know, I defend it in the sense of the baby needs come first. The baby's wants and desires come before anybody else's, because it's just left the womb of the mother. And it doesn't have an ego per se, unless it's the extension of the mother in which it comes from, because it's still a baby. But simultaneously, it still wants his or her needs, because it's based on me. When a baby cries, or a baby or hungry, it doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about the needs and the wants, that his or her needs and wants. So in that symbolic interpretation, Aries still carry that energy even in adulthood, you know, because one is a cardinal sign and it's also a fire sign. So if that energy in itself is a representation of me first. As it begins to mature, in essence, you usually have 4 types of Aries. You usually have the dictator type, you have the player type, you have the quiet type, the sheep, and you have the one that remains a baby for the rest of their life. You don't necessarily transition, but all 4 of them can be any other at any particular time, but they begin to have certain attributes. You know, like I was saying to somebody not too long ago, if you're good with kids, you can handle an Aries. If you're not good with kids, you're gonna have a problem with Aries. Because even as an Aries matures and grows into its adult self, it's gonna have a boyish or girlish demeanor to itself. You know, kind of like almost playful, and sometimes even moody and selfish. You know, I know. I hope I'm making a connection, because always think about the baby when you're dealing with the Aries in the sense of its primal needs and desires.
That's Christy says she doesn't know the time. her birth certificate. And Christy, you know what? I had the same problem also with my birth certificate. I didn't know what time I was born, but my grandmother and my mother did tell me around the time I was born. So if you're not sure, because I always tell people, if you're not sure, that's fine, but you need to know within that hour. So I know my mother said she gave birth after lunch when she was at work, and she was in labor with me. And so my grandmother and I made the connection that it was during this time, because you do get an hour window. So if it's within the hour, because I don't want people to think that it needs to be that specific time. It helps. It really helps. But if you don't know the specific time, that's fine. If you know it within the hour, if it's, if you were born at, let's say 6:30 p.m. and in your birth certificate, let's say it's 6:30 p.m. you were born, but you're not sure because you lost your birth certificate. For me, they didn't put the time in my birth certificate. I knew that I was born between 5:30 and 6:30, okay, or between 5:30 and 7. You have to understand that you have an hour or an hour and a half window to get your true rising sign. But if you really don't know, if it's like hours, like Leonore, I don't know if it was 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. Don't bother. So unfortunately, you won't get your true rising sign, neither your north node. And 369 online store has 4 placement in Aries, 4 placement in Aries.
Oh man,
Riley. Oh my God, Christy says she's the black sheep of the family because no one knows when she was born. Oh my Christy. Yeah, but anyway, nevertheless, let's talk a little bit more about Aries. Yeah, so that's the whole reason. I mean, at least one of the reasons behind why Aries, the first house, is considered the baby, because you were really born into carbon matter onto this earth. You are truly a baby. Now, also, it does represent masculine energy. Masculine energy.
Right.
Fire signs represent masculine energy.
Right.
Aries is a masculine energy.
That's correct.
Who has 369 online, has 4. You have masculinity all over your chart.
Right. Right.
Because fire is a masculine sign, and so is air. Air is a masculine sign.
That's correct.
So if you have a lot of fire and air placements, you are considered masculine. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It's you automatically are a masculine energy. So when you hear people say, "Oh, well, it's a masculine energy," I mean, I guess for the most part, men are more masculine than women on their birth chart, because it's that fire and air energy. But I've seen women be more masculine than men, and I've seen men be more feminine than women. Right. It really depends on their birth chart. It explains why on their birth chart. Again, it doesn't matter what gender they are.
Right.
Earth and water signs are feminine energy. So understand that earth and water are feminine energies.
Yeah.
So everyone has masculine and feminine energies.
Right, because that masculine and feminine energy is sometimes it can be indoctrinated within the man and woman principality, but a lot of times it's about the balance in the universe, because masculine and feminine are both needed to create that necessary balance. So you may be a female with masculine energy. It doesn't mean that you want to be a man, and you may have feminine energy. Doesn't mean that you want to be a woman necessarily, but what it means that you'll take on the characteristics of that masculine or feminine identity. Like, in other words, for instance, somebody may love to play with guns. A female may love to play with guns, like to be in war, like to be on in the armed services. Maybe she likes to play, like the box. And you might have a man who, likes poetry, likes to paint. they're more, one is more docile, one's more aggressive. It doesn't take away from the agenda as a man or woman, but just certain traits and identity they may hold on to. As we talk about Aries, you may have a lot of Aries females who may take on certain masculine traits depending on their chart. But they still, females.
Do you want to hear my history with Aries men?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you, I know a few Aries. I know a few Aries, both men and women, and transgender. No different. There's no difference between whatever gender you are. The personality of an Aries is the personality of an Aries. It don't matter, because there are some signs where you're like Virgo, for example. Virgo men are very different from Virgo women. But I've come to realize with Aries, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love the fact that I can't tell. Like it's just, you guys have the same mono tone of a personality, no matter what gender you are. Even Scorpio's like this. Like Scorpio, you can't, like, difference between a Scorpio woman and a Scorpio man is just there's differences with that. Pisces also differences with you can't tell. But I don't know if it's a masculine situation, like with masculine. I want to say it's a masculine energy. Is it because of the masculine energy that you can't tell the difference? Do you know what I mean, Riley? Like,
yeah, I understand what you mean. I mean, because it's fire. There was an alternative to fire. There is none. Fire is fire, and I'm trying. So that fire energy is transparent, and it's in every area that you'll see in certain ways. Some of us have learned to help keep it calm, keep a calm fire like a stove and control it a little better. But then there's also those forest fires. But the element in itself is still the same in regards to that temperament. It's just a natural masculine, bold energy. Mars in itself is bold, because Mars, ruled by Aries, is the only planet in the solar system that operates off its own trajectory, whereas other planets will follow to the T in rotation than what they're supposed to. Aries will sometimes have their own trajectory and do things kind of their own way, which is that Mars independence, which is a reflection of Aries leadership. Aries, at the end of the day, we don't like to admit it, and sometimes we don't say it out loud, but we like to do things our own way. And we don't like being told what to do too much. And we are natural leaders. And we don't mind going in the front, taking the lead. Because we're the beginning. We're the first. And the first operates off, I'm going to do things fearless. I'm going to give you an example. If there was a polar bear, right? And that polar bear walked into the room of an infant, the infant would not be scared. Because, once again, baby, fearless. You put a baby in water and start swimming. All that energy is a representation of that Mars bravery, that courageousness. Now, I will say for the record, the downside to that is to have confidence without clarity is dangerous. And sometimes the Aries is so confident and so courageous and so bold to a detriment. Because there's no what? He needs the balance. She needs the balance. That's why the opposite of Aries is Libra.
Interesting that you mentioned that. Yes, the polar opposite of Aries is the masculine sign of Libra, Cardinal as
Right.
well.
Right.
And
So
yeah,
because
there, the seventh house is all about partnerships, but
right.
Aries, it's like Aries, you know, they pull from each other's energy. So Aries do really care about partnerships. It's important to them, but that's because they're pulling from their polar opposite of Libra.
Shadow.
The shadow.
Your opposite is your shadow. It's a reflection of you, and it's a piece of you. And that's why your opposite, is Taurus. You know, you will attract your opposite. You will see things in your opposite, and they will see things in you. You know, but from a astrological perspective, the Libra is cardinal air, and that cardinal air deals with thought, planning. You know, Libras are what? Excellent wedding planners, right? You know, they love to plan weddings and events. But that's a piece of them. So as the Aries moves sometimes without thought, the Libra is the balance because the Libra is thought. You know, Libra is the mind that constructs things, but not necessarily the fortitude that the Aries has. So when they come together and they both can admit that they lack in that particular area, that balance is wonderful. Because remember, cardinal air, cardinal fire. You know, one is thinking more and one is doing.
Correct. Yes. One is the logical thinking, one is like
Right.
the impulsive one. But
That is
that's what
correct.
again Aries represents and so I had put innocent fire as a title. I think I was talking about that earlier. I still
Yes.
have it as innocent fire, but you know, the logic behind the innocent fire is that there is some parts of Aries that are innocent, because even though they blow up in people's faces and they become reckless and they become impulsive, it literally is like from 1 second to the next. It doesn't stay with them. You know, they're not the type of people that, you know, will hold a grudge forever.
No.
You know, they just
They move
at that
on.
moment they just need to let out steam. You know, it is
Right.
a fire energy, so they need to let out steam. But I'll tell you something, they're not good listeners. And I don't know about their learning skills sometimes. But again, this is why they represent the baby. Now, I am not saying that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My Aries are not good listeners.
Right.
Because yes, there are some Aries that are great listeners. There are
Right.
Aries that are, you know, they have, you know, they're good learners.
Right.
But it's the impatient part of them. Yes or no? It's the impatient
Yes.
part of them that makes them believe, that makes people believe, why are they not listening to me? Did they not? I cannot grab an Aries attention for nothing unless it's in the bed, Riley. What's up with that?
Well, I'm gonna get to that, but I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get something else before I get to that, but I'm gonna get to that. I'm definitely gonna get to that. Aries has a certain idea in his or her head of how they see and want things, and sometimes they romanticize it in their mind, but how they see it in their head never materializes in the physical realm. And that's why Aries, like a baby, back it up all over again, a baby will have a toy, or a need is met, it wants something else, and something else. It almost it's it always wants the next thing, the next job, the next challenge, the next partner, you know. And sometimes in a sexual sense, that as that person, he or she matures, that fire energy, because remember, Aries is energetic. You know, fire is not a lazy element. You know, it moves, it's strong. And sometimes the Aries sexual desire is profound, and a lot of times way above average. Um, and like, I think that when Aries has it in their mind that it's going to be their way or no way at all, it can start to develop a certain level of self-centeredness, and selfishness. Because why? Because it's my way. So why would I listen to you? I already know what I want. Why do I care what you think? Only my needs matter. It's only when he or she becomes evolved into their spiritual self and their higher self do they understand the difference between, all right, maybe I need to listen to what he or she is saying. But that takes time because they have to grow into that, But Aries are also very protectors too. We're protectors of people that we care about. The Aries is a very complex sign because if you have to, sometimes being with an Aries is sometimes unfair in a lot of ways, because the expectations that sometimes we put on people are a lot, because we always want, need, want. It's never enough. It's never enough. It's always this. It's just always wanting more, and that's hard to keep up with most of the signs. You have to really be jumping through hoops, But there's an Achilles heel to Aries, and the Achilles heel is that you have to check them when they get out of pocket, and you have to show them a lot of love and a lot of tolerance. Like, now, who does that the most? Who shows a lot of love and a lot of tolerance? Who does that the most?
I don't know. Who does that?
Huh?
Who does that?
Usually those with good parental energy. Remember, a baby needs love. So a good mother energy, a good father energy can subdue a lot of Aries behavior. If you're not, like I said earlier, if you're not a good parent, you're not going to be able to handle an Aries effectively anyway. Does anybody have any questions? I know I'm kind of going on a little bit. I don't want anybody, they might have something they feel they want to add on.
So Riley, I'm gonna so first of all, we have Aries, we have Aries in the house, big time.
Good.
And so they're saying preach, okay? They're like preach. I'm just letting you know. They're like, preach, my brother, preach. Keep preaching, bro. Yes, talk about it, okay?
That's right. They know what it is.
Appreciate the complex versus confusing, Riley. Mm-hmm. And then I have Christy, my poor Christy. No, is it Kimberly or Christy? I feel like it's both of y'all. Christy and Kimberly, did you both deal with an Aries? Because I think you're doing an amazing job breaking down the esoteric behind the fact. Because I see, from my perspective, I'm looking at an Aries, the external factor of an Aries and how they behave, right. But nobody really breaks down the esoteric part of their soul, mm-hmm. and why it is that they behave that way, and you just completely broke it down.
Right. And because my moon sign is Pisces, it helps me get into the unconscious of every sign, because the Pisces is immutable water. So I'm able to dip into almost every human being and feel them out. That's why, I'm good at intrinsic stuff. So the Aries in me, that's the goal, but the Pisces moon helps me do it with thought and a little bit of tact. When I'm on Pisces moon, with my Leo rising and my Aries sun, it wasn't on Pisces moon, I think I'll be a mess. I think the Pisces will save me.
And I love your combination. I love that you have like this Aries sun and then this, Pisces moon. But you also got Leo rising. Mm-hmm. I know somebody, Chrissy, you figured out that you have a Virgo rising, because she was trying to figure out where her rising, because that's the first house. The first house has to do a lot with it's your rising sign, and it's Aries. That is it is Mars energy. Christy says, Christy, oh, Pisces beat me bad when he was on meth, sober. It was amazing. So Christy had a bad experience with Pisces because of drug issues.
Okay,
And
can I
then,
tap into that real quick?
yeah, go right ahead.
Oh, well, see, you gotta, I mean, that's because you remember the Pisces deals with a lot of escapism, because the Pisces is mutable, and the Pisces has the ability to not only understand you, the Pisces can become you. And when you have that ability to tap into the people's to the souls of people on an unconscious and conscious level, the physical realm can weigh the physical body down at times, and they need to find an escape. You know, if you notice, sometimes Pisces will do a lot of stuff and then play the victim. They're very good at victimizing things, because it helps them not take responsibility, because they're hypersensitive too. Because for you to be able to tap into different people's consciousness and souls, you have to be hypersensitive. And they can pick up on the energy of things, not just Pisces. You know, Pisces love animals. They're so in tune to the point of detriment sometimes, and they need an escape. They need an escape sometimes to help them deal. Some, you know, I always say some people get high to become sober. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does make, for me, I have a Jupiter in Pisces and a Pisces rising. So yes, right. It makes sense to me.
Right.
That you and it's because Pisces, and I'm sorry to talk about the 12th house, but it kind of coincides because it goes into the first house. So I'm glad that we brought the 12th house in, because the 12th house does represent any type of physical abuse, verbal abuse, drug abuse, escapism. They need to escape. Why is it? Why is it that they need to escape? Pisces, people born with Pisces, especially if they have a very strong placement in Pisces, they usually are in a situation where there's always some type of abuse in the home. It definitely, they're coming from Aquarius. Aquarius represents psychosocial, psycho-emotional, anything that has to do with your psyche. And that carries on to the 12th house, which is Pisces. So now Pisces is carrying all 11th houses, all 11 signs. So all the traits from all the 11th sign, from Aries through Aquarius, Pisces carrying that weight. That's why Pisces, I don't know if anybody's known a Pisces that you know, they could switch personality, and they can escape easily through music, through drugs, through creating whatever it is that they're creating, work, anything. But it's like the fact that they need to escape, and unfortunately, I know Pisces that just want to escape, and it doesn't always have to be through drugs. It could be you know, just partying, just being in somebody else's energy besides their own, because it's so the mind of a Pisces, and the emotion between the mind and the emotions, when it comes to Pisces, it runs deep. It is a water sign, and it is the deepest of all water signs.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you said water, because look at the symbol of Pisces. It's two fish in opposite directions, and those two fish are what? The soul versus the personality. That's their constant conflict. Their higher self versus their physical challenges. That's what, hence why they may lean towards drugs. Some Pisces may be psychics, some might be drug abusers. Some might be both. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Wake up. It she has Pisces in her chart. She says that she escapes to solitude. I am to the point in my life where I have escaped into solitude, but I've always been that way. But I've also escaped inside a relationship, whether I wanted to be in that relationship or not, or I had no choice. But I've always, like, for me, escapism is a big thing. I don't do drugs anymore. I even stopped drinking. Drinking was a bad habit of mine. I even stopped drinking. But it's the idea of escaping your I don't know. It really depends on a lot of your placements in your chart. For me, I just I have a lot of water in my chart. So I am ruled by so many emotions between Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I have these 3 water placements in my chart. And Pisces, I have a lot of 12th house energy. So yes, you did right.
I can't wait to get to your sign soon. I can't wait.
Scorpio.
Oh, I got a lot in the bag with y'all.
What is it between Aries and Scorpio?
Well, they're both ruled by the same planet, Mars. That's fire. See, the thing about that fire is it's all the energy without a lot of without a lot of logic. Because that same energy, when they come together, is strong and powerful, but the way they go about things are not necessarily the same. Pluto does things different than Mars does. One, it's further away, so it has a different level of coldness. But then at the same time, that energy, it's all that's like all fire, and there's no wind and there's no water. It's just it's a lot. It's actually, but see, now Pluto is a water sign, which is ironic, but that's why the conflict can come, because even though there's a lot of fire in the sense of Scorpio being an all water sign, Scorpio has an energy of Mars. You know what I'm saying? So it takes on the energy of fire, not necessarily a fire sign. It's all water, but it's rapid water. It's dangerous water. It's the type of water that, if you're not skilled, you don't get in it because it will drown you. It's also fixed water. So fixed water means I'm not changing the way I feel and see things. If you did me wrong, I'm coming for you for life, and I'll never deal with you ever again. I'm not changing the way I feel. So with that type of energy in conjunction to an Aries fire, you got cardinal fire and you have fixed water. That energy is strong, but it collides. And they go about things a little different. You see, the Aries will run inside the room, ready for war, where the Scorpio will put on a ninja suit, wait for you to come in the room and attack you and you never see them. So stylistically, we do things a little bit different, even though we're both powerful.
Christy's, is it Christy or Kimberly? Kimberly's comment was, you explained about Pisces Riley was spot on with one of my family members. So she totally agrees with what you said about Pisces. So Kimberly said that. Christy says, a lot of Sag readings say Virgo. Could that be because it's my rising sign? It comes up or no? Oh, Christy, you had a question that didn't pertain to Aries. She says a lot of my Sag readings are say Virgo. So you're probably connected to a Virgo. Or is it because of your Virgo rising? Are you the one that just realized you're a Virgo rising, my love? Kimberly, I'm sorry you lost your best friend. My best friend was a Sag too, the day after mine, and she also. So, I have a couple of people talking about suicide with Pisces. That's a biggie.
Right.
That's a biggie.
Right.
I learned something about people that are born into Aries, especially if they're on the cusp of Pisces and Aries. I've learned through studying astrology, not all the time, but I've learned that when you commit suicide in your next incarnation, you're in Aries. Because and I listen, I heard this from this this astrologer. I've been listening to him for years, and the way he breaks things down, it could be pretty triggering to some people, but it makes sense. The way he says it more makes sense. But I understand, because Pisces does have the Pisces represents suicide. The 12th house represents suicide. When somebody is born with Aries in their chart, not all the time, but usually like Aries rising or Aries on the cusp, it means that in your past lifetime, you committed suicide and you're coming into carbon matter, starting the zodiac wheel all over again as an Aries.
Yeah, because if Aries is the baby, then Pisces would be what? Okay.
Pisces is the old, the elderly.
It's done. It's over.
It's a point of no return.
Right. Now, remember, I don't know if you study acupuncture or there's certain types of massage that you can get that only deal with the feet, nothing else but the feet. And but if you study acupuncture, all the meridians are connected in what part of the body? You know?
No, I don't.
The feet. If you massage,
yes, well, that makes sense. Yeah, for Pisces.
But I'm making a connection. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm making a connect. Oh, my bad. I'm making a connection between if you sorry. If you take the meridians of the feet, they all connect to all parts of the body. And since Pisces represents the feet, it explains why they can connect to all the other signs and other souls of the other signs, because they've been in each house already.
I see.
You know, every sign represents a part of the body. As Aries is head, Pisces is feet.
Correct.
So the connection between how the Pisces' ability to connect to all other signs, that's why they create escapism. Imagine spiritually being able to connect with all souls and all people, but in a physical realm. It wears you down, and you need to escape.
Yeah. It's a pretty depressing 12th house is a pretty depressing situation, and but it's the end, it's the divinity, and then we have the first house, and with the zodiac wheel starts all over again, and but that's where the impulsive comes in. That's where painful depression, and I'm talking about Aries. Right. This is because of the 12th house going into the first house. This is where painful depression comes in, because this is energy lingering from the 12th house. So painful depression, Aries represents painful depression, but confident. Whereas Pisces is not so confident, because they're pulling from their polar opposite of Virgo.
Right. But they also, but see, now remember, the Virgo is the scientist, and the Pisces is the psychic, is spirit. So Virgo is science, and Pisces is more of the feeler, the spiritual thing, spirit versus science. You know, religion versus science, the constant conversation. You know, is this religious philosophy good versus the scientific facts? You know, and it's a constant battle, but they're opposites. That's why they have that duality in them. You know,
yes.
The Virgo analyzes. The Virgo is the sign. The sign is a sign, even though it represents the virgin in the sense of purity. That has a lot to do with their desire to be perfect. Purity, perfection. That's why the Virgo loves things to be, they're a mutable earth. So they can adapt and change, but they prefer things to be pretty consistent in a lot of ways because they represent the desire to be perfection because they deal with things mathematically and scientifically, whereas the Pisces deal with things more spiritual, healing, fixing, somewhat sacrificial. Pisces are very selfless sometimes. They will sacrifice themselves to help other people, even to their detriment.
Yes.
That's why Aries has very strong intuition because it's getting a lot of energy off the Pisces.
Yes, Aries does have Aries is actually very intuitive. People don't know that too much about the Aries, cardinal Aries, but they are very intuitive.
Because the head it's a head sign. You know, it's remember Aries is thinkers too. I mean, okay, they're doers. They do, and they're intuitive, but it represents the head. They will process things sometimes, not always, but in the best way though. Still developing, you know, baby mind. You know, there's a lot of wrong choices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have Rosanna DeSante just joined us. She's an Aries. She says Aries, the wounded warrior. I've heard of the wounded warrior, but that's more because Chiron right now, Rosanna is in Aries. Chiron is an asteroid, a very energetic asteroid in our solar system between Saturn and Uranus. I could be wrong in that placement, but Chiron is they say it's a planet that blew up a long time ago, but that energy still lingers. That's Chiron. It is an asteroid an asteroid. Is that what I just said? I sometimes I don't remember half the things I said, but nevertheless, Chiron right now is in Aries. They are calling Chiron because everybody has a Chiron placement. Mine happens to be in Aries, so I have Chiron in Aries. You don't see that on your birth chart on the surface, but if you look it up, I do. By the way, guys, I have a website on my about page. There's a link on my about page, and it takes you to Cafe Astrology. So if you want to go to my about page, there's a link that says birth natal chart. You're more than welcome to put in your the time you were born, where you were born for time zone reasons. And of course the date. But there's also another calculator. They'll show you a Chiron calculator that shows you where your Chiron is. My Chiron is in Aries. Rosanna said the wounded warrior. That's all about Chiron. Chiron, the wounded warrior, because Aries is a warrior, it's known for its fighting energy, its warrior spirit. And Chiron, it doesn't, that energy is diminished, okay? Because of the mythology behind Chiron. I'm not sure if people know anything about Chiron, but the Chiron, just like how Saturn is in Aquarius, just how the moon right now is in Pisces, the fact that Chiron is in Aries, it also affects us all as a collective. It is the wounded warrior. So we do have the wounded warriors in our energy in the cosmos right now, affecting us as collectives.
Right, correct. And you know, I see the wounded warrior, but you see, only warriors get wounded in the sense of war. So other signs that are not warriors won't get wounded. They will get wounded in other aspects, but the Aries is the warrior because he goes out there and takes charge, takes the lead. And when I say Aries, I'm not relegating it just to being Aries April or March Aries. It's an Aries energy. An Aries energy, you know, like a Pisces energy or a Leo energy or Scorpio energy. You can have that energy and carry out a very similar influence depending on your chart. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind, because I don't want anybody to feel somebody watching this saying, well, you know, I'm a Virgo and I'm not afraid to go out there and take the lead. You might, I can't say that you might be absolutely right. You may have a Aries energy You may have an Aries energy, Aries rising, Aries moon. You might have Aries parents. We didn't even get into the fact how your parent sign could somewhat influence you from a nurture perspective, because you're being raised by a particular sign, and your subconscious mind can indoctrinate those teachings. But that's a psychology. We'll get into that on another show.
I have Wake Up. Wake Up is asking. She has her North Node is in Aries, and she wants to know what is she supposed to lead in this lifetime, because the North Node represents what you're here to conquer. Your North Node is your MC in your birth chart. It is it's on the cusp of Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know where the North Node is, on your birth chart is on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
So understand, when people say my North Node is in a specific sign, it is what you are here to conquer in this incarnation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So because it's on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn, Sagittarius is all about learning, higher learning, spirituality. Mm-hmm. What is it that you learned in this lifetime? And Capricorn represents a career, your legacy. So what is it that you learned so that you could apply it to your career or to your legacy? So that is your North Node. So North Node is all about what is it that you're here to conquer? Tabby Wake Up said that her Aries is in the North Node. You had mentioned something earlier about children. If you're not good with children, because Aries represents, like the youthful, boyish or girlish energy of the zodiac wheel.
Right.
So
right.
What is your thoughts about having your North Node in Aries? What is it that are people here to conquer? When you have that North Node, that MC in Aries?
Well, I would go as far as to say, what is the person doing right now in their present life at this moment that they don't feel restricted? See, what is that individual doing that asks the question currently, that they don't feel tied down or restricted because they love doing what they're doing? Because in other words, when people ask questions like that, mm-hmm. then that means normally two things. The path that they're on, they feel that it doesn't feel right, so they're looking for something else. So I ask, the second question is, when you're not doing what you don't want to do, what are you doing that you do? And that's your answer. And only that individual can answer that, because they only know what's best for them in that regard. So the answer is, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think also is image. A lot has to do with the image. You're having a North Node in Aries because, right. Yeah, it's all about your image. Aries is very like I don't know. I do you not find Aries to like always are into their looks? And I'm not saying Aries is not the only sign. Yeah. But I just feel like Aries are really shallow in the way they perceive themselves and their love interest.
Aries can be shallow, but I'll always say their shallowness comes with a certain, like I said previously, an idea in their head. So if you don't fit the mold that I have created in my own mind, then I'm not gonna say you're a liability, but you're replaceable. Because I have a certain Aries likes, the new. Aries are honeymoon phase people. When you think of Aries likes the new stuff. If you have a sign that gets bored easy, what does that mean? Like to replace things, like to do new things. That's why we love challenges. because the challenge is something that we haven't mastered yet. But if you love a challenge, then that logically would mean what? You don't like what you get after you mastered it. On to the next one. You know, and that just has a lot to do with that fire energy.
Yeah.
You know, the same way that the Sagittarius, you know, can detach it to him or herself, you know, kind of like unemotional, like whatever, you know, what's next, you know, learn something. Then after they learn something new, you know, that's a fire energy.
Jennifer had asked a question a while back ago. It wasn't really a question; it was more of a statement. She's an Aries, and she always deals with Leo. So
okay,
her counterparts are mostly Leos, or
that makes sense.
Why does it make sense?
Well, first of all, you have, you know, Aries and Leo, they understand each other. The hardest part with Aries and Leo that I would say that has summed up in one sentence, who's going to be the boss? Because the Leo is the sun. And the Leo and the sun likes the spotlight, likes to be that person. That, you know, most Leos are usually, if you look at Hollywood, there's a lot of Leos that actors and actresses. They like that camera. They love when the camera comes on. They love it. You know, and in their relationships, they like to be, you know, that person. Sometimes they can be narcissistic, you know, to a degree. But the Aries understands that. Because Aries is confident. So I can respect that in Leo. But remember, don't forget, Leo is the sun, but Aries is the beginning. It's the Milky Way. It's the first. So there is a struggle between who's gonna be that, and they learn to share that responsibility most of the time. You know, because the Leo will do things, and the Aries if Aries is smart and cunning, they'll appreciate it, because the Leo loves to be praised. You can get a lot out of Leo by praising them. Love it. That's their weakness. They'll do things just to be praised. And the Aries are very clever like that. Remember, Aries is war, the god of war. War's about strategy. Aries knows how to get into the mind of the Leo and work them. You know, everything is good with those two, but when they both get mad equally, or I mean simultaneously, I should say, that's when it becomes difficult. But when they're not fighting, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. I've dealt, like, I've had my share of fire signs, but
I see your face. You know, every time I talk about Leo, your face shifts every time. Every time. You can't hide it.
You know, I have different things to say about all fire signs, you know, like, you know, Aries is a different type of energy. Leo is a different type of energy. Sagittarius is a different type of energy. If I had to put it in lame terms, like Aries, my relationship with Aries men, intimate relationships, I should say, with Aries and men have been more like a general hospital situation, where it's like, you know, it's like a cat and mouse game between Aries and I. It's just a big cat and mouse game.
Right.
And
I know why that is. You know why I know that.
Why? Tell me.
I mean, you have to understand, you know, the Scorpio, like the Aries, likes to play by their own rules. I'm fixed water. I'm not changing. Fixed water, Scorpio. I'm not changing the way I feel, and I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Matter of fact, I've gotten too close. I don't trust anybody. Let me just reset this thing. But that drives the Aries kind of crazy because that's a challenge to an Aries. Oh, I gotta get it. So that challenge inspires. But see, challenges are not what keeps a relationship long term. That's a spark. That's good sex, not necessarily longevity.
Oh well, you just said it all in a nutshell.
No.
Makeup to break up.
Makeup to break
or
up.
break up to make up.
Right. But see, honestly, the Aries can be an Achilles heel to the Scorpio if done right. Because the Aries, he's relentless when he wants something. You know, he wants it, and sometimes the Scorpio can appreciate that as long as it's done tactfully. Scorpio mind is very, very different. You know, you come too hard, too fast, he or she will run. You show no interest at all, they'll detach, they're not gonna chase you. But if you just do a little bit of everything, at the right bit of ingredients, you know, and make the Scorpio feel, the key to Scorpio is 2 words: trust, patience.
Aries has patience for that.
That's why they don't make it together. You have to see the Scorpio, you know, wants to make sure, because when a Scorpio is into you, he or she is into you. They will put everything. Remember, it's fixed. Fixed isn't always negative. Fixed also means I want this, and everything, nothing else matters but this. You know, but the Aries is not fixed. It's cardinal, and it's fire. So now that I got you, start acting stupid now, right? It's good, like, I trusted you. You earned my trust. And you're like, yeah, well, you know, I earned it. Challenge good.
That is fun.
It's insensitive. I mean, it's very insensitive. It's very insensitive. It can be. But the Scorpio is insensitive when they can be insensitive too. They can be hard. The Scorpio, if they don't love you, they can cut you up, detach themselves from you too. If you don't make the cut, they're not going to play with you. Scorpio's not gonna like, if you don't make the cut, they'll make the cut. And remember, the Scorpio, you know, the symbol Scorpio is actually the Scorpio. That stinger is inward. They'll sacrifice you. If you piss them off and you hurt them, they'll hurt themselves to get you if they need. If they have to hurt themselves to get you, they'll do it sometimes. If they have to get their point across, even at the detriment of possibly harming themselves, so be it.
And that's a turn on for Aries?
No, it's exciting. But that's not relationship. That's not long-term relationship though. See, Aries and Leo is different. See, that's a different flow. That's a similar, same element. You know, it's a different rhythm. You know, but when you add water to fire, what you gonna get? You're gonna get steam.
Unbelievable. But yeah,
Did I answer her question? I hope I didn't rant too far. Did I answer her question about Leo and Aries? I hope I answered it.
I don't know.
Okay.
You are so full of knowledge. I'm pretty sure you answered her question and more. Yes. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think I love Aries. I love Aries. I do. Because they're so fun. And I have Sagittarius in my chart. So I'm the older fire sign of the zodiac. So you know, but I think where I bump head has a Scorpio Sag, because I'm on a cusp, but I do have a Scorpio in my chart and I have Sagittarius in my chart. I bump heads with Aries because I am so, like, you know, either very committed in that they run from that because I'm so committed, or then I'll do the opposite. Okay, so once I find out that you're not on the same page as I am, then I'm not going to run. I'm just going to ignore you from now on.
And here they come.
And then here they come.
Chasing you down.
And then, like nothing happened. Like, hey, so what's up? I'm like, what do you mean what's up? What you mean what's up? But I mean, I can understand that's their whatever. I don't know how to explain that situation with it. I know that Aries and I do have a lot of fun with Aries because I feel like they're very free spirited people.
Right.
But they get they play hard and they work hard. So
yeah.
Their thing is about playing hard, but they work just as hard. For me, as a Scorpio Sag, it's all about being in the feelings and the emotions, and I think that kind of scares Aries because that's like too commitment. I don't know, too messy. I'm gonna say too messy. Where Sagittarius is, and then with my Sagittarius placement, then I'm like, I don't really care. I'm just here for a good time. And that kind of scares them too. So either way, I'm still scaring an Aries because I'm either, this is too serious and I just want to have fun. And they love that about me. And then when I want to try to be really committed or, get my feelings into it, they run to either way, they run from me. But then they come back.
But the Sagittarius placements that you have and the Scorpio placement that you have, I can see why there's a little bit of contradiction when you're dealing with an Aries. Because the Sag likes their space too. And the Scorpio likes their space until they don't. So you may draw Aries in, because you have the perfect trap for an Aries to bring them in. But is your trap durable enough to keep them? From a law of attraction perspective, I don't mean looks. I don't mean style. I mean from the nature of attraction, that law. See, my question to you is, when you're dating an Aries and things are going well, what part of you doesn't feel the need to when you have your trust issues kick in? Does that ever happen?
The trust issues with Aries for me personally comes from their contradiction. It's the contradiction part that bothers me.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay.
But I mean, it is what it is. You already had mentioned that they have that characteristic about them, and that's that.
Yeah. And we're gonna. I can't wait until we get to Scorpio because I mean, that's gonna be fun. We're gonna go in on this one. I'm telling you, I can't wait. Because I'm gonna talk more about I'm gonna talk more about Pluto. I'm gonna talk more about Scorpio energy. I'm talking more about the makeup of Scorpio and the regeneration of Scorpio and the Phoenix bird of Scorpio. The purple color, transformation. Because Scorpio is the only sign that changes from Scorpio to a Phoenix bird. It can change.
Yeah, Scorpio can change anyone besides themselves.
But astrologically, y'all can change it to a Phoenix bird. Y'all don't stay a Scorpio when y'all evolve. Yeah, did you know that?
No.
See, I can't. We're gonna get into that. I don't want to drag it. But
yeah. So I'm gonna end here, Riley. Thank you so much. We're gonna Riley and I are gonna go back. We're gonna do this again with Taurus, which is actually the polar opposite of Scorpio. So that's a good time to talk about Scorpio.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait.
All right. So thank you guys for joining. I love y'all. I'm actually going to do the love reads this tonight. I was going to say this evening, but it's tonight. So I'm going to do the love reads if you guys want to stick around. And that's about it.
Thank you,
I'll see you
everybody,
guys
for
at the
having
next
me.
live. Let's talk about Taurus next time with Riley.
Thank you, everybody, for having me. Thank you so much. I hope you guys see you guys again.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
Later.
Love y'all.